Alrighty, welcome back to Sargrim Palooza. I'm gonna read some more of the life and times of Emilia Sargrim. We have journals 8 through 12 to read today. So let's just get right into it. I'm gonna keep doing the same style of thing as last time, where I'll send you a paragraph at a time. We can all read it at once, share the wealth, so that I don't have to do it all the time. I don't like my own voice. I don't like listening to myself that much. And I don't want to burn out my voice. So it's been a little bit since we've done this. So if there are any things that you connect the dots on that, I think people might not get from the first set of journals, I can point them out after the paragraph. Be like, oh yeah, that was that person that did that. Just to make sure that we all remember, don't miss anything. But let's go ahead and start. So previously in the journals, Emilia had her friend the dragon gunned down in one of the dragon wars in the mountains behind Sargrim. And last we heard, she was weeping silently into the night over her lost friend. Journal 8 is called Selflessness. This book is quite similar to the one before it. And I think from here on, I'm not going to put any more book descriptions. These are all basically the exact same. There's not a lot of different styles of writing or paper or ink or whatever, because all just the same consistent thing. Seidel needs a leader, a ruler. I hear our people struggle, despite my efforts to help them from the shadows. Being cut off from the rest of the world has hurt our ability to feel inspired. I need to step up, even after all this time. I don't think immortality is a boon anymore for myself, but for others. I can ensure that Seidel lasts the test of time and flourishes in whatever world order is out there. I need to have Seidel form bonds with other countries and engage in diplomacy and trade to help us survive. The mountains here are rich with ores and gems, so we'd have plenty of goods to export. My biggest concern is that I'd have to deal with Torrid again. I know they remembered me as their emperor's former right-hand turned assassin, and they remembered Seidel as traitors to the Empire. So I decided to change my look, and with some light magic, modified my appearance to become slightly less recognizable to Torrid. Still make it clear to Seidel's people that I am who I always was. I also decided to change my last name, as well as the name of Seidel, to something stronger, as an indicator to Torrid that we stand independent and mighty. I figured it would also be a good chance to honor someone close to me, without whom this country would not exist. Now, I know myself by the same name you likely do. Emilia Sargrim, Queen of the Sargrim Queendom. Maybe I should figure out how to make that introduction a little less repetitive.
My first order of business was to sit down with the residents of Seidel and tell them everything I told you yesterday. They were very understanding and appreciative of everything I had planned, and also of everything I had been doing at night for them over the years. It dawned on me that it had been 40 years since I'd spoken to them. Their acceptance made me feel so guilty. Even though these people weren't generally the same people that I had traveled with, I still was responsible for them, being here, and not somewhere that had a leader who was competent and present. I vowed to make Sargrim a place that they could be proud of, a place that people from the other side of Solaire would know and want to visit, and a true home accepting of all. Let's just hope that the current ruler of Torret, Steindl's son Reese, doesn't recognize me, or at least uh, lets his mind go wild on what would happen if he brings it up. The immortal blade is gone and dead, but her final act had quite the impact. I'm not afraid of wielding that knowledge if I need to.
I met with Emperor Riss yesterday. He clearly recognized me, but didn't say anything. It was quite entertaining to watch the emotions flicker across his eyes as he saw me. Confusion, then anger, then fear, then understanding. He behaved very kindly towards me after that, and genuinely tried his best to get to know me as a person and a leader. I was quite impressed with his maturity and met it with my own kindness and acceptance. I'm quite excited to see how this relationship between countries grows now that I have faith and confidence in the Emperor of Torret for once. I'm quite relieved that it all worked out so well. Starting the relationship with Torret has been a source of nervousness for me and for Sargrim's people. As our closest and only neighbor, we really needed to be on their good side. As we were walking from the castle back to the city gates, a few people did recognize me, whispering amongst themselves the classic, "Is that the immoral blade and Emperor Riss?" Immediate oh, is that the immoral blade? End quote. And Emperor Riss immediately turned to them and introduced me to them, catching everyone else, including me, by surprise. I have a lot of hope here.
Of course, when I start getting up. I stayed in Torret for about a month before returning to Sargrim, working on finalizing trade agreements and plotting a system of roads to build and use for transportation for these goods. Rise also suggested building a second city to use a rest stop before the main city. I hadn't necessarily considered the idea of multiple cities in the same area because that sounds like a lot of work previously, but I let him know that I would consider the idea. It did seem like he was open to us expanding, especially at the land northwest of Toret. Was functionally unlivable without my magic anyways. There wouldn't be a point for Toret to expand there. Anyways, we spent a while deciding on what would be valuable to each other to trade and settle on the sending stone ore and gems from our mines in exchange for lumber, certain crops, and manufactured weapons, armors, and other goods from them. I figured this would help us fare a little bit against the ever-going dragon war threat and would be making farming and building far easier. After everything was settled between us, we said our goodbyes and vowed to have him at my castle sometime. I arrived back in Sargrim this afternoon and have been plotting out the idea of the full Sargrim country since. I'll let you know, what I have tomorrow.
Alright, my master vision is here. So the current city where I'm hanging out right now will of course be the capital, which I'll name Drieghan, and will generally focus on trade and diplomacy as the center of the trade network within Sargrim itself. To the west along the mountains, I'll build a more dedicated mining town named Restakar. It's farther away from the areas of the mountain range that the dragons inhabit, so it should be safe still. The land here is the worst by a mile for farming, so they'll have to import basically all of their food and be heavily reliant on the trade from the town due east of them, Zalfiel. Zalfiel will be the main farming city, as the land there is manageable even without my magic, so they can send crops and livestock primarily to Drieghan and Restikar. More east, near the border, will be Elsander, the international trade center, where they will house and maintain trade caravans for people going in and out of the country, and receive Restikar's mined goods to send elsewhere. For now, that just means Torret, but who knows who else we could work with now that Torret's on our side. Finally, I plan on making a city near the lake, to help supply the country with water source and fish. Now that's a pretty tall task, as the quality of the water is absolutely vile, but perhaps my magic can help purify the water or something. It's worth a shot at least. If not, at least they can take trade shipments by boat from all places like Agni, Gedalia, or Viridi, which would also be very important. I think this lake city, named Kulumhast, will be my focus for now, so that I can figure out what I need from those 3 countries in trade talks. By the way, if you're a future historian reading this, trying to derive meanings from the names of those cities, don't. They're just made to sound cool. In fact, that's a good rule of thumb to follow for anything I do. I probably shouldn't admit that.
I announced my plans for New Sargrim to our people, and they were eager for the idea, but a little confused about how we would actually start it. Everyone here was already established and had been here for decades. I guess I didn't think about that. I decided to name 4 city leaders for now. For now, they were just responsible for planning out the city, not for building it or moving there yet. They had long been self-sufficient without me thanks to my brief hiatus, so I knew they could handle it, but there simply weren't enough people to split up and form 4 extra cities. So I figured this would be a good chance to prove myself to my people once again, and build a whole city on my own. So I went to the lake, and found a suitable spot to build Kolumhast, using stone from the nearby edge of the mountain range. Luckily, all the craftsman trainings I had done in Caliston way back when helped me understand how to do all of this, and in about a month of tough and exhausting work, Kolumhast was created. It was tiny, but big enough for maybe 20 people to survive and fish in the newly purified water. As I spent one of the last days working on a home, I heard the sound of digging, and I found a large group of Sargrimites. Sargrimers? Sargrimies? Sargoers? I didn't think that one through. Creating a road from Drieghan all the way to Kolumhast. They sure know how to make me proud, huh? The group stayed there for about another week, quizzing to the houses that I made, and then half of them stayed in Kolumhast, including one of the city leaders, and the rest of us left to go back to Drieghan using that new road. Once I got back, I immediately sent a supply caravan there, to help quickly maintain a level of communication and trade. I'm not particularly worried about starting Zalfiel and Restikar right now, so I'll focus on Elsander next, to try and start the trade with Torret. I think I'll give the people a few days to recover, then head out with a group of workers this time to kick off the next city. From there, I'd like to head into Torret to let them know to start trade shipments, building roads the whole way, and then head to Agni to form an alliance with them too.
Construction on Elsander is going great so far. Everyone is so dedicated to making this work. It's harder to get materials for the city as the stone supply of the mountains is too far away, but I used the sending spell to ask for a shipment of lumber and a whole Torret crew of builders came with it, helping our progress even more. I think the city will rival Drieghan in size pretty soon. Based on how Emperor Riso was talking about it, Seidel is apparently remembered pretty fondly, and a few other border cities are curious how their former neighbor is doing. I've got to make sure Elsander is extra presentable to make a good first impression. Well, second impression, accounting the traders and builders as sent it to help start Alsander in the first place. I need to find more ways to counteract the grim nature of this land and make people all want to move here. Maybe more puns will help.
Sargrim got its first official tourist visit today. His name is Jaden Thano, and he is from Keresta. He's a painter who is looking for new inspiration and figured Sargrim would be worth a shot to try and paint something new. Thank goodness he isn't a landscape artist, because he'd run out of grey paint in seconds. Unfortunately, he wanted something more awkward. He asked to paint me. I'm not very open to the idea of it, but I was just so happy that someone had visited and I didn't want to turn them away, so I got my first official portrait as queen. Thank goodness he was able to paint a better and more regal background, as there wasn't a particularly suitable location in Elsander yet. He offered to give it to me, but I don't want to seem self-obsessed as a leader, featuring or even owning a picture of myself like that. These days, I don't even like to look at myself if I can help it. I don't see anyone in there anymore. Anyways, I suggested he take it to show off as part of his portfolio to help get more exposure, and he bought the excuse. Maybe the thoughtfulness I apparently displayed will help get me a more positive view.
As a quick note, you saw a lot of paintings in the trophy room specifically of Emilia fighting certain battles. And one thing that I am going to amend for that is that her face is not depicted in any of them. Her body is, and
Sure.
it's easy enough to tell that it is her, but she does not draw her face. And
Is
these are
that-
all signed by her as well.
Okay.
Got it.
Are there any paintings that we see that we saw that were by Jaden or no?
Nope.
Okay.
Every painting that you've seen in here is by her. And a lot of the ones in the trophy room are famous battles, but there are some in other points along the castle. But it's mostly just things like landscapes and different scenery pieces. Nothing else that you've seen in the castle besides the trophy room even features her.
Bless you.
But Alexander is now complete. Some of the Tourette workers went home, but some decided to stay, but for a little bit, for a bit more to help maintain the city for a while. Maybe they'll consider moving there permanently, or telling others too. I'm heading through Tourette to travel to Agni tomorrow morning to continue my plan of securing trade for Sargrim. I'm not sure exactly what Agni would have for us, but it's worth a shot. I imagine they'd be good at trading fish and minerals, but we don't really have any much need for those things in Sargrim. I know that the people in Agni are incredibly kind, though, and I think I'll enjoy my time there regardless. They're quite a small nation tucked away in the volcanic lands north of Tourette, and are an incredibly religious society, led by a king known to be an avatar of Vel, Agnes, the god of fire. I've not met this king yet, but I'm sure we would have plenty to talk about. Those silly gods give us plenty of discussion points.
As a reminder, one of the current councilmen of Agni Calum Socorel is also known as the Avatar of Vel Agnes, but there has not been one in centuries. I met with the King of Agni, Seosi Socorel, this morning, after arriving in Agni the day before. Agni is a tiny nation north of Torret, encompassing the little peninsula and the volcano Agni has crown on it. The area doesn't really get a lot of traffic, either by trade or by tourism, because of how dang uninhabitable it is. After spending months in the swamps, deserts, and mountains on the far west side of Torret, though, this is practically a vacation paradise. There isn't much to eat, so the people here have adapted to draw as many nutrients from the fish their diet fully consists of. They'll tell you that their faith is enough to sustain them fully, or that they use the heat of the mighty volcano as sustenance. They held a welcome feast for me, but I was literally the only one eating. They made an incredibly well-done effort to hide their actual eating in front of me. King Seozi is unfortunately of the same delusion, putting pride and tradition above everything else in our conversation. He was not at all interested in gossiping about how being a demigod was, choosing instead to only shower Vel Agnes with words of kindness, even though I literally pinky promised I wouldn't tell anyone. One potentially negative thing he did mention, though, is that he and his ascendants are not actually immortal. They just live the same rate as the normal Genasi like the rest of their people. I guess I'm still alone after all. Just had to be the god of death for my dad, huh? Well, at least he doesn't care about me trash-talking him. Wow, is that my standard for good parenting? Can I be a mama's girl without having actually met my mother?
Trade talks lasted another few days. They seemed incredibly resistant to finding any kind of solution. They were incredibly kind to me here, but only to my face. I think having guests such as traders with any kind of frequency would be hard for them. They didn't really seem interested in sharing their religion or welcoming to any other religions, even the one forced on me. So we didn't end up striking a deal for anything. I'll be here if they change their mind in a few generations, I suppose. I'm going to return to Sargrim briefly, then begin the East Solaire tour, visiting Keln, Gedalia, Caliston, and Viridi in one go. The distance will make trade significantly harder, but I'm also quite interested in learning more about the areas, now that I can visit without the immoral blade training having to be my focus.
So as a quick point of emphasis, I mentioned a couple of times, but every time she mentions the immortal blade, she refers to it as the immoral blade after she leaves Torret.
Mm-hmm.
Silmanor will comment is like, sounds like she really needs an advisor. There's only so much one person can really do at once.
Journal 9, World Tour. Brendan, you want to start us off?
World tour, baby.
Let's go. I'm visiting London, Melbourne, and Sargrim.
I'm starting off in Keln, traveling down through Torret around the Lake to Verdal, the capital of Keln. I generally don't have as much of an issue traveling through Keln as much as other groups that I've been here with, such as with my training all those years ago. The people of Keln are incredibly adaptive, clever, and extremely capable. I've not met many of them in my time here, as they really aren't very populous compared to other nations. Yet they still spread across a large chunk of land. Because of this, Keln has never had a good hold on international politics, trade, or diplomacy. They just kick back, stay isolated, and focus on their own survival. I can respect it, especially since that is kind of how Sargrim started. But I still have to feel like there is more to governing than that philosophy. I know that living in the violent desert has required them to be extraordinarily resilient, and that they've had to endure and grow from harsh conditions. But surely there is more to it than that, right? There is so much more to the world that they could be a part of through trade. Admittedly, I'm not sure what they would have to offer us, but the food, for example, could be so much more. They hunt the fierce monsters across the sands for their food, but those monsters are tough and gritty, both in their demeanor and as food. Edible plants don't grow here, so there isn't a lot of variety either. I'd say that they should have just given up on trying to live here, but Sargrim's location isn't exactly a gift either. Yet my magic is what keeps the land alive. What do they have here? Sure, they were able to adapt to this. That couldn't have happened for centuries. There is something they are not telling me. I'm sure of it. It doesn't seem maliciously deceptive, but something isn't right. Nobody would want to do this.
I met the King of Keln today. He needed a few days to get everything set up for an official visit, but the meeting ended up being short anyways. He straight up said that Keln has nothing to value to offer Sargrim. It caught me off guard. Sure, we were all thinking it, but say that straight off the bat to my face after waiting a week to meet me. Even Agni wasn't that quick to discount their entire nation's ability to make things. I intend to keep pushing it at some point, but now I'll just let them be. It is disappointing to come all the way for nothing, but I expect more luck later in my journey.
I got a lot for you here, Joseph.
Oh boy. Oh, I see. Man, do I love Gedalia. Or Gedalia. Sorry. So many diverse cultures, focuses, dreams, and everyone is down to scrap at any given opportunity. They have some of the most dedicated craftspeople, just tucked away in the middle of nowhere, not even aware of their gift. They'd be the most powerful nation in all of Solaire if they only liked each other enough to work as one. Sure thing Tokage clan leads. Oh god. I keep going.
Sorry. She has a lot
Sure,
to say about Catalia.
the Tokage clan leads, but there's not really a lot of cooperation still among the many clans in Gedalia. And the vitriol runs deep, too. It would take a whole lot to get them to unite with each other. I'm curious if I'll ever live to see that. I spent some time in the lands of each clan to learn more about the history and alignments, and got to learn so much about the nature of the endless disputes between the clans. The vast resources of the Tokage clan lands were quite desirable, and it's easy to see why nowadays. Lake Junya, at the center of the territory, is a vast haven of wonderful fish, and the bamboo forests that surround it have been integral to the infrastructure of the city. There's also a majestic sanctuary. What? She's so nice. There's also a majestic sanctuary devoted to Bahamut, tucked away in the mountains of Tokage, that I reside at currently before making my way back down to discuss trade terms with the Shogun. The Platinum Sanctuary here is a wonderful place, filled with some of the most dedicated minds I've ever seen. Calibrain has a visible smile on his face right now. Like Agni, they are devout worshippers, but here they better understand morals, or try to seem mightier and holier.
Oops. To seem.
Wait. They better understand morals. What is or supposed to be?
It's supposed to be. Hold on.
Okay. Hold on. Try to. What? They better understand morals and
It's not quite right still.
they better understand morals rather than trying to seem mightier and holier than anyone else. How about that?
Sure. There you
Their
go.
kindness was more clearly to the core, not a facade or con, and they understand me better than anyone has in a long while. I talked with their elders about the dragon wars that continue to plague the ancient peaks north of Sargrim, and they helped me to better understand the dragon perspective, from among metallic, chromatic, and gemstone.
Right.
Sorry, it's
Also, as a quick
ahead.
note, the ancient peaks is capitalized. And you think that's what is the actual name of that region,
mhm,
although it is now called the Umbral Peaks.
got it. Well, it is still hard for me to understand what exactly they are fighting about, since the conflict predates me by miles. I do understand how pride keeps the conflict alive through and across generations. They offered to send some of their paladins with me when I returned to Sargrim to get more information on the conflict, and potentially to help me do something about it. I don't have a lot of hope on the matter, but I'll try whatever I can help to protect Sargrim. I will try whatever I can to help protect Sargrim from the danger that war causes. I've spent plenty of time here meditating with their clerics and monks, and have been able to find more peace and understanding within my body, mind, and soul. I still cannot consistently speak with my father, but they help me figure out rituals and offerings to have a better shot. He never has a lot to say anyways, but I suppose it can't hurt to have that as an option. If I ever need a wellness retreat in the future, this is the place to go. I've also learned a ton about unarmed combat from the chief monk, as we've been sparring a ton. I can't say that I'll expect to find a use for it, as I can summon Painsplitter and Skirmhild at will, in addition to my magic, but it doesn't hurt to learn. Kilbrand can't help but speak up and say, plus, if you know a fighting style better, even if you're never going to use it, it does better help you defend against it. Sorry, I'll keep reading.
Nerd.
Mhm.
I also didn't need to hold back at all against the Chief Monk, because in unarmed combat, he absolutely whooped me every single time. And man, does it feel good to be able to go all out, parentheses, with the agreed upon terms of combat, parentheses, and still lose. Unfortunately for him, parentheses, or me, depending on how you look at it, parentheses, I hate losing, and would immediately challenge him after I wake up from being knocked out. I'm sure all that blunt force to the head and falling unconscious isn't great for my brain, but that's far from the worst trauma it's had to endure. He was very hesitant at first about going all out against me and inflicting that much pain repeatedly to me, which was very sweet of him. Those inhibitions were fully gone by his 13th time knocking me out, only for me to wake back up and plead for another round. Absolutely exhilarating stuff. Gonna be hard to give up that in a few days to head back to Guntai. I have stayed up here at the Platinum Sanctuary for much longer than I intend, though, and have to get back to the official business. Getting back here for a relaxing break and a handful of times getting my butt handed to me would be high on the personal priority list. I have a question. Kilbrand has a question for God. Do I know, or does anyone know, or do I remember, was the Platinum Sanctuary involved at all in the wars against Sargrim?
Not explicitly. Some soldiers were paladins from the Platinum Sanctuary, but they didn't necessarily go in an official capacity.
They had no official stance, at least.
Not really.
Okay.
I mean, they kind of deferred to Gedalia,
Sure.
and Tokage gave the Sarkane's Compass member. So one of the Sarkane's Compass members was from Tokage specifically. I don't remember his name off the top of my head.
That wasn't Barian, right?
Oh, Barian. No, it was Barian.
Oh, right. Yeah, I figured.
Remind me what the Sarkane's Compass are.
That's the group that united together to stop Emilia Sargrim in the War of Sargrim Conquest.
Got it.
It consisted of one member from Sargrim, Agni, Gedalia, and Viri.
Cool.
Yeah, during this book, kind of, Silmanor is just every once in a while opening up his book of the Song of Battle, just kind of checking details,
Mm-hmm.
since it is written by Barian of Tokage.
All right. I just got done with my first official audience with the Shogun on this trip, and it went swimmingly. We had a little sparring match. Unfortunately, I did still win, and he respected the heck out of me after that. I met the previous Shogun during my initial training in Gedalia all those years ago, but he had since given the title to his son, and the new guy is just a honorable and capable as his father. He was quite firm in trade talks, and it didn't take long for the obvious connection to kick off. Simply put, we have scores of metals, and he has capacity to forge that metals into manufactured goods that we all can use. Once that became clear, it was smooth sailing. Luckily for us, Toret's Emperor gave permission for Gedelia's traders to travel through Toret to give goods to us as part of the normal trade route with Toret. It's kind of a relief that we'd be able to have more artisan metal goods for construction in Sargrim. I think it would help you make everything more stable. The earthquakes have been most mitigated by my magic, but it would be nice to remove that burden on my magic. Even if it's a small relative to everything else I'm focusing my magic on. Perhaps my most exciting of all is that they decided to hire me to visit occasionally to help train parts of their army, slay the most dangerous monsters they find, come up with the ideas for new magic weapons, created by them and Caliston, and then go out and hunt the parts for it myself. Are these people that absolutely coolest or what? This is exactly what I was hoping for. Someone to recognize my ability and let me do the absolute coolest stuff for them like this.
Brendan, do you want to read this whole Calliston part here? It's a lot. I can read part of it if you want. Also, Eric, I think you got a little bit of an echo.
Have an echo.
A little bit. Here, you read the first part, I'll read the second.
After I finished trade talks with Gedalia's shogun, I set out to travel to Arkin, the capital of Colliston. Colliston doesn't have a ton of particularly exciting natural landscapes, but its people are some of the most interesting I've ever met. Each one has such a natural interest in improving the world around them, and the understanding on how to harness their gifts to do exactly that. The whole of Calliston Bay is the largest hub of trade across all of Solaire, as fleets of Arxilum trading vessels spread out to Gedalia, Keln, Toret, and Viridi. They practically supply everything Viridi uses, using the river system to get goods all across the country. Their boats are incredible too. I'm not huge on sailing, but Even I can tell that these boats are outstanding. One of their boats is even bigger than my castle. Note to self, make castle bigger. There are so many people arriving out of nowhere to unload and reload the boats that arrive each morning, working short but early shifts, and then everyone pivots the rest of the day to working in their individual markets. It's almost as if everyone kicks off a day with the community event of working on the boats. It isn't even always their stuff either. Every craft unloads every craft, regardless of it if it is on the boats that day. It is really something to watch. My first morning here, I was sitting on a bench watching them load up a boat, in absolute awe of the efficiency. Then, a literal 5-year-old that was twice my size grabbed me and brought me over to help. To be fair, he was a Goliath. I was so stunned I joined in and helped. And to my surprise, as I was lifting a bag of nails onto the boat, they gave me the easy things because of my size. Didn't even give me time to explain that I could use magic to help. I saw on the other side of the boat the Arxlum Guildmaster, Walsh Inkara, who was the very person I came here to meet. We locked eyes, and he gave me a little head nod. I tried working my way over there to talk to him, but he just shook his head. He explained to me later that day that the walk to Pertukaran, as it is apparently called, is a time of reflection and quiet work, where everyone plans out their ideal day while they work. Talking to others, causing a scene, or being disruptive in any other way is seen as a disruption to the whole day. Collison gets a lot of visitors, so I was surprised that this system fell into place without getting thrown out of sync by rowdy straight tourists, such as myself. I asked the guildmaster, and he said that all of the other countries that they come into contact with are aware of this tradition and are respectful of it. Maybe my not knowing this is simply a product of how far away Sargrim is. That being said, I have been to Arkin before, close to a century ago, and didn't encounter this. I slept in a ton during my time here thanks to my general exhaustion, so maybe I just missed it all for a few months. My room this visit is right next to the trade yard, as opposed to the outskirts, so I wouldn't be able to sleep through it this time if I tried. It has been a very rewarding experience to join the past few days. It's nice to fit in with the common people who instantly accepted me, even though they still give me easy work. There's no titles or classes within Walk to Pertukaran, and it tells me everything I need to know about Collison. I've already had trade talks with the guild, but I'll wait until tomorrow to write everything regarding those. I've got to get lots of rest for tomorrow's walk to. Or is it Pertukaran? Not really sure which the noun is.
I'm excited that finally someone is appreciating the quality of Sargrim's gems. Caliston does more with crafting magic items than any other nation, so they recognize the value of these from a crafting's perspective better than anyone else can. I've been trying to sell nations on it this whole time. They haven't been interested in a capacity more than just fancy jewelry. Being able to use these gems for their innate magical and alchemical properties would be way more interesting to me. Maybe I'll get a chance to use some of them too. I'll have to keep visiting to keep up with the work. I could even see the work as part of the effort with Gedalia to make magic items, and have a hand in creating them. There isn't really a great way to get the goods sent to or from Sargrim from here, so our biggest discussion was how to do that. We ended up on the castle-sized ship, traveling occasionally with large shipments of magic items created here, sailing all the way around Viridi and Agni, going completely around Solaire to drop off goods in Colomast, in exchange for a huge amount of gems sent in from Restakar and Drieghan. As part of this deal, I would join some of their early voyages to help defend the ship as the waters north of Solaire can be quite dangerous. As the ships evolve to help maintain better magical artillery thanks to these gems, I won't have to as much. After my trip to Viridi, I'll come back here to carry off that initial trip. Colomast doesn't have nearly enough of a port to accommodate this monster of a ship, so I sent a message to the leaders in Colomast and Restakar to inform them of the plan and give them time to prepare. Another thing that Welsh offered is helping me with construction of my palace. Castle Drieghan has been coming along pretty well, but I hadn't put much thought into hosting other country diplomats there. Calliston gets a lot of foreign visitors, both noble and tourist, so he offered to help me plan out ways that I could help foreign rulers feel more at home while they stay in Castle Sargrim. We talked a while on things to focus on, and how I could try and get in better favor with Agni and Keln. I think that I would love Sargrim to be known as the most magical and wondrous place in Solaire, so I'm planning on including a score of magic touches to it when I get home. Walsh also suggested cuisines and drinks to help coax the leaders into favor with us. Give me scores of information on each leader's favorite foods, drinks, alcohol, music, and more. Perfect things to wield to them, for them, when they come to Sargrim. I made an absurd amount of notes, even though I don't really need them. Keep track of everyone's little profile. I'm going to spend a lot of time when I get back setting up the castle, growing our own foods and wines, and hiring staff. Luckily, I already know how to play a bunch of musical instruments thanks to my initial trip to Calliston. Might have to train others in that, though. Lots to think about on my boat ride up to St. Luca tomorrow. Better to think on that instead of how much I hate the cold. The next entry is fully crossed out. Only a few words are visible through the mess. Everwinters, pompous, pathetic, Virity, cousin kissing, and soulless garbage.
Cousin kissing?
Cousin kissing.
I Silmanor sighs, and it's just like, guess it never changed.
Do they kiss their cousins in Verity?
It's a thing.
Silmanor looks to Lilith, and is just like,
Don't tell me you guys do that.
Lilith just
I would
sighed.
expect. Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, it's just a very audible, disappointed sigh from Lilith.
Silmanor pipes up and is like, well, if High Society did have cousin kissing, then it would explain their thought process and from all the inbreeding.
Damn.
They're not particularly known for that, but their family lineage has existed for quite some time.
Got it.
Ah, then they have no excuse.
Cousin kissing.
Alright, Matt, next one's on
Yep.
you.
Okay, I promised Trey when I started these journals that I would keep them PG, but I met with the leaders of Virity today, and I don't have anything good to say about them. So, sorry, Trey. I kept my promise for a few lifetimes already. Didn't think I'd have to keep it indefinitely. I promise that I'm not usually one to lose my temper like this, or even to cuss that much, but wow, did they know how to push my buttons. To keep it brief, the meeting with Virity did not go well. First of all, I sat outside their ice palace for 3 hours waiting for an audience, despite them knowing exactly when I was going to arrive. They wouldn't even let me in, just sat me down outside in the cold. At least I could use my magic to heat myself up this time, unlike my deep freeze training last time I was here. They then only had me meet with the kid of one of the 10 leaders who was practicing his harp playing while I was trying to talk. After I finished talking about everything we could do for a trade deal, the guy just said, nah, and left the room. I was then hastily ushered out by a snotty woman who just said, maybe try coming back when you have a real country. Anyways, I'd like a favor from you, reader. Have you been to St. Luca yourself? Is there a large ice statue of the actual man, St. Luca, whenever this is? Because I fully melted it after our meeting, and I'm curious if they've redone it. I don't think they know it was me, because they've apparently never heard of me. And I did a few days after I was supposed to leave back to Caliston in the dead of night. It's also pretty dang magically resistant, but I'm just built different like that. If they grow some balls, a heart, and a brain, they can do trade with the real country. Until then, I ended up quite satisfied with my Virity experience in the end. Did we, in fact, see another statue of Saint Luca? Was that in front of the church? Yep, alright, yep.
Been to St.
Oh, wait,
Luca?
actually, wait, hold on.
No.
Never mind.
I
don't know.
think Joffrey has.
Damn.
Joffrey's the
Or-
only one.
Of
'Cause
course.
that's further into, like, high society area, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
I think Joffrey would have mentioned that there is indeed one, though.
Okay.
Journal 10. Making some good progress here. This one is called Butcher for Hire. I made it back to Caliston and quickly set off in the enormous boat for its first trip to Sargrim.
The boot.
Boat is apparently called the Guiding Wind, which is pretty cute. This is a well done segue into the fact that I would name my boat the Sea Sharp.
That's
Anyways,
funny.
these people are all armed quite heavily, which makes me kind of curious what dangers actually live in the waters north of Sargrim, so that they would be so worried about. Curious and excited. I haven't had a good monster fight in a while. At least I'll have the Gedalia job to look forward to if this ends up being disappointing. We're apparently going to be at sea for a few weeks, which does not sound all that great. It really is not the life for me, I suppose. I don't exactly get seasick, but I definitely get sea uncomfortable. Hopefully the size of this boat will help mitigate that. Today is the first day of the trip, and I've basically just spent the entire time looking at all the magic items on board, which makes me super excited. The quality of every piece is so perfect. It's quite exciting to think of potential uses for it. The magic strength and higher level capability is not really quite there yet, though. Hopefully that's where we'll come in. There is a magic item master crafter on board the boat. I'll try to speak to in the next few days to try and get a better understanding on how the gems actually play into the crafting process, since I honestly don't have a great understanding of what it takes to make magic items. Alright, I'm going to go out of order a little bit here.
I
Can
spoke to the
understand.
master.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just saying, I can understand being uncomfortable around water, considering drowning for a year.
Yeah, that's fair. I was gonna say
Yeah, that
she
might
said-
leave kind of a bad impression.
a little bit. Say she said she was sea uncomfortable, but was she flat? I take 10 points of psych damage and die. I spoke to the master crafter and showed him the example gems I brought on the trip to show off. We talked for a while and came to this conclusion. Wait, what? We talked for a while and came to this conclusion. Okay. I've been able to sense the magical energies of these gems for a while now, but I thought it was because jewels themselves are a component of every magic item. This is apparently not the case. Gems are usually only used as a part of the base used in the item. Gems are usually only used as a part of the base used in the item. What makes these more valuable to magic item crafting is that these gems are actually chunks of crystallized dragon's blood. Damn. Which provides plenty of magic to infuse into the item. I don't fully get the process, but Walsh and this dude seemed to be aware of what to do with it. I'll probably keep talking to him to figure out how to craft magic items. Feels like that's one area of crafting I don't know how to do yet. There's a few days before we get to the dangerous part of the journey, so I've got to find something to do to keep my mind off the waves.
I finished the journey on the waves a few days ago. When let me just tell you, it's one heck of a life out there in the Northern Ocean. I was fully expecting to be disappointed that there would it'd be like one stupid little kraken and that was it. But the, that was absolutely intense stuff. First of all, it was storming basically the entire way as violently as possible. I had to wake up multiple times each night to help repair the ship, bail out water, and help them make shields against some of the nastier waves. And then on top of that, there were scores of the most exciting slash deadly monsters one can find. We could have practically walked alongside the boat on the corpses of the sea giants alone. And it was basically a week-long battle. I think I think they're going to just stick to the coastlines from now on. And even if it's slower, I'm not going to be able to join each time they make this trip. They let me keep a bunch of trophies from the monsters too. That being said, after our own little extremely inefficient walk to uh, Pertu Pertukaran here in Columnhurst, I did fall asleep for a full day straight.
So, if you're looking at the map, you suspect that they just went straight across from Verity to Agni, which goes quite a ways out in the Aral Sea.
But the world's flat.
Do we think the world is flat?
Even if it was, I don't think that changes
doesn't.
anything.
Change it, yeah.
I am not looking at a map right now, so
Okay. Well,
Literally, it's the Idalsi is like in the middle of the map.
fair enough.
Oh, true. Okay, never mind.
Matt's tricking me.
Yep.
Dumb bitch.
That's the stuff that I've been missing lately. I think I've had to Dregon to start construction on the new and improved palace, but leave to go kick off the Gedalia work while the framework is being built. It would probably give the chance to build the other cities, and the column has port up enough to use. Plus, my grand vision of the castle will require a bunch of magical energies to power things inside it. What better way to do that than shoving a bunch of monster parts in the walls? Huh? Please don't break into the walls of the castle. It's gonna be gross. Oh, I can make a trophy room. What?
you know, break into the walls of the castle and find a bunch of monster bars.
What the fuck? Speaking of Attack on Titan,
Jeez.
Yeah.
There are lots of entries after this about her adventures tracking, hunting, and harvesting monsters. It's formatted like a log of things killed and what purposes the things that she harvests from them have. She also drew little doodles of the more interesting sounding ones. Between these and the boat trip, you recognize just about everything in the trophy room. Either from the pieces and the weapons and the different magical things found in the shelves and the display cases, or from the paintings. There are a huge variety of things here, and it looks like she did work for other countries as well later on, not just Gedalia. Across the log, every country is represented. There are a few other entries talking about the monsters fought and more interesting things about them, but she does not talk about anything else in this section. I'm not going to go through all of that. I didn't write out all of that.
Bad
Sounds pretty
DM. Failure.
Yeah.
Everything's
Yeah, I
worthless.
didn't want this to be 3 sessions of just going through these journals.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
I expected more.
Give me the lore. With my latest kill, the Dread Angel Oledian, I finally have the monster parts that I need to fully light every room in the castle. So I shall bid my monster hunting days goodbye for now, become the most wonderful host I can be. Through my slaughtering of their enemies, even the passionate folks of Verity are interested in visiting Sargrim and doing business with us, which means it's time for the next phase of my evil master plan, making a total kick butt castle, and that will make them feel both right at home and also in total awe and joy so that I can love Sargrim forever. Yay!
Okay, the formatting didn't quite work out in Discord as I copied that. It's through my slaughtering of their enemies, even the idiots, which is crossed out, passionate folk severity.
Got it.
Ah, okay, got it, yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, that formatting did not translate into Discord. Good to know. Alright, Journal 11. Life of the party. Just to clarify, yes, I am writing all of this to absolutely flex on whatever government official reads this. Still, my goal of this whole project is to make the castle all nice and spiffy for everyone, so maybe it's a dig on me anyways. Over the last few years, I've had a lot of decoration pieces imported from each country to prepare specific bedrooms for each country's diplomat/noble. Hopefully, can give them a space that they can call their own whenever they visit, sleep, pray, train, or whatever. All of that is finally finished arriving, and can be set up when the rooms are at that point. Before that, though, is a few key magical components I wanted to tack into the infrastructure. First of all, I built a brand new sewer system on top of the old one built by the Shaws, so that the castle system will feed into the city system. I don't really want to usurp the work done by them, because it's really the only thing they did that is still untouched. But I'll give it a little magic touch to help expedite the process and keep its flow away from the city. Moving the way up from that, I leveled up an area further up the mountain and carved a path up to it, making sure that there is ample area here for storage of caravans, whatever manner is needed. Then, I started building. I'm not going to get into every detail of every room. I do want to highlight some of my favorite magical touches as I work on them. I'm currently only a few days in for the building. Oof. So get ready for some awesome additions.
I would like to point out, since so people have this many background feature, that Death Touch only got one buff. I removed 3 words. Instead of your damage you deal ignoring resistance to necrotic damage, damage you deal simply ignores resistance. So you're welcome.
Well,
That certainly changes something. Yeah.
One of the biggest focuses I wanted to help make the place feel magical is keeping it lit at all times, without having to see what is causing that light. So I made all the floors, ceilings, and walls emit light with the ability for someone to clap to turn it off. I clap my hands real quick.
It does not work.
Damn.
Damn. Uh, Is I absolutely just lost where I was. Okay. Like it in their bedroom or when a room isn't in use or something. They can also be controlled by me to change color, flash, or do whatever. Or I do just I'd like just in case it is needed. Each of these surfaces is also enchanted to automatically clean up dust, dirt, mud, or any other similar material when left on it. I also magically reinforced the material to help weather any earthquakes or impacts left by guests. The Gada- uh, the Gadalian shogun did specifically request that his room not feature this to ensure that the marks are kept from the training in his room. I can't say no to that face. I also aim to maintain the room at a comfortable level of moisture and temperature using emissions from the surfaces. This includes the option to change that feeling for some rooms, such as the foreign guest rooms, if they want. My aim is to keep this castle standing strong until the end of time, regardless of my condition or location. So I made a magical anchor deep under the castle where a score of monster parts and other magical artifacts lie, whether each magical thing can tether to it uh, instead of me. That way I don't even need to focus on maintaining the magic myself.
My turn. Jesus fucking Christ.
Alright, you got double duty.
As part of wooing everyone over, I learned how to make all of their favorite cuisines. However, with such a large cast of cooking styles, I'm going to need a heck of a kitchen to work with. A lot of food/storage. So over the years, I've built up Zalfiel to be a farming city, where we have imported seeds of every kind of food I need, as well as the livestock. Even things that can't grow in Zalfiel's climate can be amended with magic items provided by Caliston. That way, everything I need for these meals can be sent right from Zalfiel and kept in storage here until I need it. Now, I expect these meals will change over time, both as personal preference adapts and as generations turn over, so I'll have to keep tuned into the information network and stay prepared in whatever method is necessary. With that already coming to fruition, I built a huge kitchen where I can store everything provided, as well as cook in all of the styles they love. Getting into the good part here, I enchanted various storage spaces with a preservation spell. It should extend out the lifespan of the various ingredients that are stored here so that they can last a few years if needed. Of course, the spell runs off how well the ingredients' existing shelf life. So all the meats in the freezer should last a long time as a suitable backup. We're also working on wine production of our own, so those should last an extremely long time as well. I'm sure the nobles in a few thousand years will be quite interested to try a wine made in. We got a date, boys. What year is it right now? Remind me.
Right now, it is 8934.
Okay. Hold on. Where are our notes? Sorry, hold on. Pause. So she says, for everybody else's reference, I'm sure the nobles in a few thousand years will be quite interested to try a wine made in 5671.
5671.
Okay. You've been writing shit down, right, Matt?
Yeah, well, it's in the Solar notes is all the stuff. 5671 is between Sargrim being founded and the journals in the study ending. Or the entries in all. Wait, is it specifically this journal?
What do you mean?
No, it's the entries in the office that you found
Gotcha.
a few floors down that have the shift logs.
Yeah. So we are still 900 years away from the War of Sargrim conquest.
Where am I? So, okay, 900 years away from the War Cycle Conquest. Okay, cool. Good to know. That's kind of what I was asking. Well, one that still has 900 years isn't all that long ago, all that far. I feel like though, but still. Well, one that still has its flavor at least. I'm proud of that statement. I also enchanted these bottles so that they will be infinitely drinkable. Yes, I say as I raise one of the bottles to drink from it, so that each time a visitor can have the same exact wine as before, and maybe even take a bottle home with them. She gave me permission. I also did the same enchantment in a few other places, although it doesn't really work with food. Yeah, that would be weird. I tried casting that on a crate filled with boar legs. Interesting choice. But it seemed the empty space in between the legs, it sensed the empty space in between the legs and filled those, making a giant solid cube of meat and bone that was way too unwieldy and inconsistent to use for cooking. Wow, that's hilarious, actually.
That's something.
Yeah, that's great. I also made sure that all of the various cooking appliances would run without needing a physical fuel source, so I tampered with those as well.
I figured now that I don't have the time as much to go hunt monsters. Maybe I'll want an area where I can train slash fight things. So I made a specifically designed training area fueled with buttloads of magic. There's a number of ways it can work. First, clapping twice will open a cabinet with a score of crystals that can be loaded into the device of my creation that will either summon a monster into the training grounds or create a portal to a large combat area to fight a large summoned monster. There is also an option to use the training grounds as a simple combat arena without any summons for training with another person. Like if that monk from the Platinum Sanctuary visits, I should invite him. What makes the system more controlled is that there is a force wall that gets put into place once the crystal is activated, so that isn't any damage to the room or anyone else in it. Everything will be contained specifically in the battle arena, or the demi place. I did also include a view-only portals to the plane in a case someone wants to watch a match that takes place there. I also made a handful of crafting stations, but the only magic thing I really did in there was keep the forge alive indefinitely. Simple stuff. I'm assuming at this point, reader, that you are in my castle currently. There is an archery range down there. I beg of you, please do not hit the farthest target when the obstacle dummies are on. It would cause a ton of issues.
That makes me want to do it, though.
That also makes me want to do it.
Wow, I guess.
As I've traveled across Solaire, I found a new interest in learning about the different plants that inhabit specific regions. I figured that once I made this new castle, it might be fun to bring over plants not native to Sargrim. not like there were any here anyways, and try to figure out how to make them thrive here. I also wanted plants that had more innate alchemical properties so that I could try and use them as aspects once they are ready to harvest. I built a small garden out back with this goal and enchanted each planter box to accurately make the dirt resemble the conditions that each type of flower was from, as well as keep them hydrated as necessary if I was not able to. I still want to be involved in maintaining them as much as I can, but I obviously won't be here all the time. And I don't want them to suffer because of that. I don't think that the seasons will really make a difference because of that enchantment, but at the natural end of their life I also made it that they should get replanted automatically. Again, I'd rather not do that myself, but I can't always plan when I'll be here all around that. Here's hoping that it will continue to work, as I think it would be a fun connection point for visitors to the castle from these plants' homelands. Did we find that garden?
Yeah, I think you found it when you left outside of the West Wing. There's
Gotcha.
a little greenhouse out there, and it was still
Did we?
growing things.
Oh, okay.
We've got a little more out of order.
So I'm going to make a few assumptions. I assume that someone is actually reading this and you are still paying attention. I'm also going to assume that you're standing in the library right now, hanging out in one of the awesome reading chairs I made, learning about your hero. That isn't assumptions, it's just fact. She draws a little face sticking with their tongue out. Because of these assumptions, I'm not going to tell you about the magic I cooked up for the library. I want you to figure it out yourself. Really play with it, learn about it, and utilize it. It's my favorite room in the entire castle, by a mile for a by a mile for a reason, as well as the one I'm most proud of. Just be sure to give Pip some seeds from the bag in my desk as a treat. What the okay.
Bird on the lectern looks expectantly at you guys.
I'll go give him a goddamn. I'll go over to the desk.
Yeah!
Bag of treats in the desk.
Yeah!
I'll give him
Yes,
a treat.
in the desk you find a bag of seeds.
I'll pull the seed out. I'll leave the bag in the. If I know anything about animals, it's that if you leave the bag out on the table, they'll fucking eat the whole thing. So make sure to close the desk and not leave the bag out. I'll take one treat and I'll give it to the bird.
The bird looks happy.
I'm glad. I'm happy because I'm preloading Crimson Desert onto my PC.
Finally, there were just a few minor touch-ups I wanted to make, such as making the fireplaces never burn out, making chairs automatically tuck themselves in if nobody has been sitting in them for long enough, giving the
Hold
piano
on,
a setting
pause.
to
I immediately go take the chair out from under Amelia's desk and leave it there, and then come sit back down.
giving the piano a setting to automatically play itself, help automatically feed any horses that are in the stables, and keeping the decorative candelabras lit. I'm hosting a party in the castle for all of Drieghan tomorrow to celebrate the grand opening. I'm planning on cooking for everyone, giving a tour, and really getting to test out the ballroom. There are a lot of people in the city, so this will be one heck of a stress test on how many people can really fit and how many people I alone can cook for. Hopefully, I'm not in over my head.
I was in over my head. I've never been one to back down from a challenge, but I did not expect nearly every person in the city to actually show up. Honestly, the cooking for 100 people wasn't the hard part. So all of the bouncing back and forth throughout the night between cooking, mingling, playing music, bartending, and showing people around that turned out to be impossible to manage. Obviously, in hindsight, that was a horrible idea to do that all myself, but I was just so excited, you know? Thank goodness the kind people of this city saw how much it was for me, and they stepped in to fill in a few of my roles. We had a legit band play, a legit bartender serve drinks, and a bunch of people stepped up to help serve the food. It was a really lovely time once those things hopped off of my plate. It felt really good to be able to hang out with the people of Sargrim for the first time in a long time, to be able to party and celebrate the successes that we've all found in the last century since we became a nation. I suppose I was too busy to really think about all that they have done for Sargrim and for me. But they are really what gives this country meaning. They are for who I've done this all for. It was nice to get a reminder of that.
The rest of this book is filled with countless short entries, detailing visits from each nation's leader and other important figures. They get pretty repetitive quite fast. Seems like the entries span centuries. She still is the one doing all of the work behind the scenes for each event, although none are even remotely as big as the inaugural one. With the one with the Drieghan. She still covers a lot of bases and little side notes. There's plants and how they do in her garden, and the continued growth of Sargrim, and a few touch-ups to her magic castle, including an incident of how a round of applause caused the lights to freak out.
Nice.
So she changed it to be voice activated.
Oh.
Got him. I wrote that with the explicit goal of you guys immediately saying that you clap and for it not to work.
Wow.
Okay.
I mean, what else would we do?
Lights
I know.
turn off.
The lights turn off.
Dang.
Lights turn on.
The lights do not turn. No, I'm kidding.
Fuck. We broke them.
They do just turn off in the room you are currently in, though. They
Okay.
don't
Yeah,
turn
yeah.
the hallway. And the candle lights in that are like deep down in the library, those also don't turn off.
What book are we on right now? Out of how many? It's 12 books, right?
We're on
Yes,
11.
you're on journal 11.
Damn.
This is the end of the journal, almost. Her entries become less excited and more jaded over time, almost like she was just holding herself to continuing to write in them, more out of obligation than actual excitement or interest. And that's the end of journal 11.
Oh shit, there it is.
I'm
We are now on to
very
the final
concerned.
journal. This is journal 12. This
Okay.
journal does not have a subtitle
Fuck.
like the previous ones did.
Why am I sad?
It's ending!
There's still so much, like so much of a gap in information. Unless
Yeah.
this covers like 2,000, like 2,000 years worth of information.
I mean, I think
God.
at the very least we've learned like she was not evil, right? Like we got that down. That's solved, mystery gone, done. But I still think the most important question for me, for Kilbrand, for me,
It's
are
what happened.
yeah, like what happened? Why would the wars happen? I mean, we've got one journal left. I know Ethan's probably fucking either itching or laughing or whatever, but like there's so like there were more than one war is the other thing. Like there was the Sargrim
Yeah.
Conquest War, and then there was
Yeah,
the
that's
like Arlen.
Sargrim Ireland War.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. Like, but like unless this covers like 2,000 years worth of a little under 2,000 years worth of information, we're missing still a lot of
A
details.
lot, which I think is
Because,
important. Like, is really important to me. Is like frankly, the most important question to me is, what the fuck is up with the goddamn Reaper's Forest?
because Sargrim Arland War ends, Emilia Sargrim disappears, and Reaper's Forest appears in 7360.
Yeah. All right, I guess let's fucking just get into it and see what happens.
Yep, yep.
There will be plenty to discuss.
Oh,
This journal does
Oh,
not
yeah.
have a subtitle or anything on the cover besides the pattern that matches the rest of the books. As you lift it up, you notice that this journal is simply a cover with a small amount of loose papers tied in. It is not bound or finished at all. Again, this is the last journal on the shelf.
I feel like she's not happy anymore, and that makes me sad.
Mm.
I will read all of this one.
Oh,
Oh, boy.
all right.
Concerning.
yeah.
I'm bored.
Fair enough.
Need a new hyperfixation.
Oh.
Too long spent being a good diplomat and whatever. There's so much paperwork that I have to do now, and I don't have time for myself or for the people of Sargrim. That's one entry. You know what I really want right now? A bar. All to myself, where I can just wallow in peace and silence. So much time spent talking and being talked to by other people who don't really care anymore. The awe of the Magic Castle has faded to others over the centuries, so now it's really just routine for me and for them. If I can reduce that time even a little bit, it would help. I wonder if I could pass off some of these responsibilities even. Next entry. Well, I made that bar. Tucked away and back into the very edge of the city, where people are unlikely to disturb me. I made a secret tunnel to it, so that nobody will see me enter and try to talk to me. I can at least be here for an hour or two every day to just sit in silence and rest. Even made a bartender to help turn people away when I'm not there, keep my drink filled, and keep the place peaceful. The bar plan is working perfectly. Nobody's even tried to visit yet, so it's just been me and my main man Jeremy hanging out and chilling. I still can't visit much, but it is so relaxing when I can. I accidentally fell asleep in the bar last night, and you know what? Nobody cared or even noticed that I wasn't in the castle. A Torah delegation was there and everything, just hanging out, and they were fine. Sounds like I've got a little more leeway. Last night, I was at the bar really late, just chilling and relaxing and drinking a fine Gedalian bourbon. Then, we heard a knock on the door. The first person to actually try and visit the bar. Jeremy grabbed the broom and walked towards the door to try and shoo them away, but I get there first. I opened the door a smidge, and I saw a young adventuring group of 5 people, standing there in the rain, looking absolutely distraught. They were littered with wounds. I told Jeremy that it was fine, and let them in. They simply took a booth and ordered a few drinks. They didn't say anything more, even amongst themselves. Just sat there, all of them on the verge of tears. I let them sit for a little bit, then pulled up a chair to their booth to talk to them, and they filled me in on their story. They introduced themselves as the young and upstart adventuring group known as the Last Resort. They were all from Gedalia, but had taken a mission to Zalfiel to slay an earth elemental that had been attacking supply caravans heading here to Drieghan. This was only their 3rd mission. During the battle, their leader, Branzel, made the sacrifice play, losing his life so that the rest of them could kill the monster. Branzel was apparently the one that initially brought the rest of them together. Were just strangers before the group formed, united as one only because of their friend. But now they didn't know what to do. Without Branzel, they didn't know who each other was, didn't know what the group was, or what they should do next. The shock of being an adventurer and what they were actually risking had come violently real to them. They spent a lot of time sharing stories about Branzel, crying, pouring out drinks in his honor, and talking about what they would want to do next. I think that they may have come in as strangers still. By the end of the night, they had truly become friends as they embraced their shared loss. And I think that's what Branzel would have wanted. The members of the group came back tonight, offering to pay the tab for the drinks they had had the night before. Of course, I declined for a whole host of reasons, including the fact that the drinks were literally endless. We got to talking a little more about how they felt now. They were feeling way better, especially now that they knew they could lean on each other for support in this tough time. I asked them what they planned to do next, but they didn't really have anything to answer. Seaton, the cleric, said that he just wanted to spend some time mourning and meditating in the Drieghan. Gelidus, the group paladin, wanted to focus on perfecting his cooking. Vanessa, the rogue of the group, was interested in becoming a merchant and learning the trade. Alvin the druid wanted to retire to a quiet farming life. And Restia, Branzel's mage sister, was the only one who actually wanted to keep adventuring and fighting things. This got me thinking. I asked them to stay in Drieghan for one more day, at least, and invited them to stay in the castle. They were very surprised and confused. Apparently, they had not connected the dots that I was the queen. I had told them my first name, but to their credit, why would a queen spend their nights hanging out or working in a dingy bar? I'll give them that one. After I explained, though, and took them up to the castle, they were pretty stunned. They accepted the offer to stay in the castle, and I got to show them around the grounds, and watch them get excited at all of the different components. Hopefully they get excited enough to accept the offer I'll give them tomorrow, which is that they stay here and work for/with me. Each of them has interests that I can meet here, that I can fund, support, and expand, and that they can use their talents and interests to help Sargrim. We'll see what they say. They accepted my offer to join Castle Sargrim. They were excited for the castle and for the benefit that they could offer Sargrim. They found that the various facilities I'd given them a lot of ideas and inspiration, and they were eager to make use of them. All of the more menial things being taken care of thanks to magic means that they can focus more on their work, on the things that they care more about. We'll see how this experience goes for us. I haven't worked with people in a while. I'm happy to see them excited for their future and being friends with each other after the situation I found them in a few days ago. It wasn't my intention to meet people and start in the bar, but I'm glad I let them in. It's been a while since I've had friends. Maybe this can become that. Seaton built out a huge schedule of who will be working on what and when. I did not ask him to, or expect it even a little. He listed a handful of jobs around the castle and who would do what, including having me as the shift manager each day. I explained that this isn't really what I had in mind, but he ignored me and left to go write the next few months' worth. I told everyone else that they do not need to follow the schedule. They shrugged. I took Vanessa to Colmast to meet with the Calistinian trade ship that arrived this morning so that they could meet some of the traders and merchants. She had a whole notebook of questions to ask them, and made the same mistake I made for her first Watu Pertukaran, trying to talk them while still loading. I did make sure that she was able to get all the answers to the questions she had once the work was finished, though. Afterwards, we discussed that she would think about doing that as a job, and she noted that she'd never been on a boat willingly. She noted that she'd never been on a boat willingly. It was interested to get to watch the logistics in action, and to keep track of the trade lines that we have across the world. Maybe she'll take more of that over from me at some point. I made a new recreation area under the training ground so that everyone would have the ability to take a break and relax in a quiet place. Seaton also requested that I build an office down there, to handle more of the organizational bookkeeping and scheduling things down there so that everyone can see it. Makes it easier than me just telling them when foreign delegates are coming and for how long. Gelidus also suggested that I make custom aprons that have magic that resists the extreme hot and cold of the oven room and freezer. What a fun idea to flex on everyone. Alvin has always been pretty quiet and reserved as long as I've known him, but he's really impressed me with his attention to detail and organization lately. I told him that I'd like for him to plan out the scheduling as a new shift manager, taking my role at least some of the time. He agreed, and said that splitting time with Seaton would also be helpful to make sure he can still help maintain every other part of the castle as well. Hopefully, he can find a hobby so that he can relax a little bit more. Well, hobby besides changing his form and going to the capital, purely to avoid talking to Seaton. If we all have nothing to do, we tend to spend the rest of our time down at the bar that I made. They suggested that we give it an official name and try to spice it up so that others can help find it and visit. Well, it wasn't ever the intent. Having visitors gave me them. So how could I say no? I've spent a lot of time down there at this point, and I know the times where people wouldn't be around anyways. Seaton basically just took scheduling from me. He made me a calendar, filled all of my meetings onto it, and stole all the sending stones that I used to communicate to set up meetings. I'd be a little mad, but truthfully, that is the part of diplomacy that I absolutely hate. I still sternly told him to not steal things from me and take my work, trying my best to sound angry and professional, but I think he understood how I really felt. Hopefully that's what that sly smile meant, not that he was going to steal more things. We hosted the current guildmaster of Caliston at the palace today, and Gelidus put himself in charge of cooking the entire thing himself, and even made me promise to not come into the kitchen so that he could, quote-unquote, prove himself as a chef. We waited for quite a while for him to arrive with the meal, so I sent Alvin down to investigate. For about 10 minutes, Alvin told me to head downstairs. I found Gelidus hiding in the washroom, head in his hands. He had overdone the smoked raptor leg he was cooking for me, and was devastated. The invigorating veal and vegetable stew he made for the guildmaster was completely fine and ready to serve, albeit a little cold, so I helped heat it up quickly and had Alvin take it up to the guildmaster. Gelidus and I talked through things, and once he was feeling better, I took him upstairs to meet the guildmaster. I had scores of wonderful things to say about his meal, including that he hoped Gelidus would cook his remaining meals any time Caliston's group comes to the castle. That perked Gelidus right up. I spoke to my dad for the first time in centuries. Since I started the new initiative to meet with the other countries in Sargrim, I haven't even tried to contact him. Why bother with even more cryptic bullcrap? This time, though, he was strange. It was like he was almost coherent. It was kind of nice. We talked about all I had done in Sargrim and the life that I had built here. It felt like I had a real father for the first time in my life. Then, he said that my mother would be visiting in exactly 2 months. Then he said that he was sorry. And the connection snapped. And suddenly the reality of my real father and what a tremendous tool he is kicked back in, and I had more questions than answers once again. Who the heck is my mother? I have a mother? How is she alive after 1,000 years? Why is he telling me this now? Is she a demigod like me? Do your parents have to be one god and one normal human to count as a demigod? Or does one god and one demigod still count? Is she also immortal? Why did he say that he was sorry? That's stupid, cryptic. The rest of the page is scribbled out. Finally, that brings us to the page that is sitting on the desk. Restia hasn't fit in quite as well as the others. He was enthralled by my trophy room and has been reading all these journals. But once that was done, she didn't know much of what else would interest her. Since I have a few things I needed to do in Agni, I figured I would invite her to come with me. I want her to be able to see more of the world, and maybe even act as my envoy to visit other countries eventually. I think this will be a good start. Restia and I just got to Calphion, the capital of Agni, and she was taken almost immediately by Agnia's crown, towering over the city. I just let her do her own thing, and I'll have to do my errands. I still need to find a good way to get my flour from Agni to survive in my garden. It makes sense that a flower that can figure out how to grow here would be a tremendous pain in a normal garden, but I have tried countless times to get it to work. When I got back, she was still in the same spot, absolutely enchanted by the volcano. She vowed to see all of Solaire's majesty, and I told her that I would make that happen.
Sorry, can you read that again?
That whole last section?
Yeah, I was doing something for work real quick.
Restia and I just got to Calfee, the capital of Agni, and she was taken almost immediately by Agni's crown, towering over the city.
Okay.
I just let her do her own thing, and I went off to do my errands.
Huh.
I still need to find a good way to get my flower from Agni to survive in my garden. It makes sense that a flower that can figure out how to grow here would be a tremendous pain in a normal garden, but I have tried countless times to get it to work.
Mm-hmm.
When I got back, she was still in the same spot, absolutely enchanted by the volcano. She vowed to see all of Solaire's majesty, and I told her that I would make that happen.
Got it.
And the final entry. Today is that 2-month mark, so I guess I'll be meeting my mom later today. I'm nervous, more than I ever have been. I'll let you know how it goes.
What she did.
And that is all.
That's
So-
stressful.
Damn.
Someone was just gonna sit there for a minute in just disbelief. Thank you.
Oh, yes.
You now have access to the full book, Emilia Journals.
Oh,
48 pages.
yep.
I don't understand.
Is there... Can we, like, add headings for the journals? Oh, wait. That requires edit access.
Yeah.
Just copy and then paste somewhere. Paste into a note, into notes. Doesn't clarify anything.
Now there's still
No.
so much information to learn. Because I would say, seems like the best option would try to find her mom, but we have no lead on
No
how
leads
to
at
do
all.
that.
Yeah.
God.
You can go back to Duncan. Is that right? The
Who?
bartender, Jeremy.
Jeremy?
Oh, Jeremy.
With the journal maybe, and see if he has any like.
Yeah, so we could ask Jeremy if he has any information on Amelia's mom.
Or like when the last time she saw her was. My question, I wonder if she like, because she stopped writing. But it wasn't
Before
just
she
that
went
she
to-
stopped writing, it was that she like didn't move anything on this desk. Like she never came back to, and this library she said was her favorite room in the castle. Which would be weird.
She didn't even title this journal.
It's unfinished.
So like
Yeah.
that makes me think that it's possible that like her meeting her mom,
Something happened.
something happened,
Yeah.
whether it changed her or it like opened her eyes to something, or but something happened.
Yeah.
And there's no evidence for this, but it wouldn't surprise me if whatever happened is also what led to the wars.
Yeah, because I mean, like, her dad even apologized
Yeah.
about the fact of seemingly that her mom was visiting.
It makes me wonder, am I correct in remembering, Emil? I guess everybody was there for it. When we were talking to Jeremy said something to the effect of like, the person who, like, basically all the things that Emilia did, or at least is said to have done in the wars, is not the same person that he knew.
I don't know if it was that exact wordings, but like something along those lines.
So I
Yeah.
guess I just wonder if like meeting her mom changed her, whether it's because she gained some new piece of information or because it literally like changed
Her
her.
mom did something to
Like her
her.
mom
Yeah.
did something to her that changed her,
Yeah.
that made her do things that she wouldn't normally have done. And I mean, maybe again, I guess we still have no further information on whether or not she's still alive. I would guess that she is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Based on
Go ahead.
uh,
Oh, you're cutting out.
yeah, based on like all accounts of everything of what has been said, that she's not just gonna die.
Die, unless her parents did something,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
could cause her to die, maybe.
Yeah, unless because like obviously it seems like her dad is the one that's been keeping her alive, unless
Right.
he suddenly decided to stop that.
Right. So,
Just
I mean,
because she disappears doesn't mean that she's dead.
I do wonder if like maybe something happened to her. And again, this is just speculation, and I don't like mean to have any connotation behind this. It's just a thought. Like, what if something happened to her after she met her mom that led to the wars, and then whatever happened to her, like, unhappened to her, and that's why
It's
she disappeared, because came back to her right self, and whatever she did was incongruent with her normal self, and she felt like she needed to
Disappear.
because of
yeah,
it.
and it's possible.
God, it's
Interesting though.
Yeah.
Was wait, I'm forgetting my brain. What's the name of the god of death again?
Kelmfor?
Kelmvor, yeah.
Kelvor, yeah. We assume that keeping Emilia Sargrim alive is a conscious thing, like a consistent thing that Kelmvor is doing, or
I
was
would
it
assume so.
Okay.
What? Wait,
Like,
sorry. Again, work. You said is the keeping her alive a conscious thing? Is that what you're talking about?
Versus just a product of being a progeny of.
I don't know. Actually,
Yeah,
I don't know
I
that
mean,
there is one way. I think it's. I would actually. My gut instinct would be to say that it was either something that he simply did to her, or it was like it wasn't like a constant thing. It was like he waved a magical wand and booped her on the nose, and she
yeah,
became
it's like
immortal.
that's kind of how I think of it. Like, I don't think that like he has to like is consciously thinking about it, sort of thing.
Sure.
But because for obviously it's possible, like obviously we have zero information
Yeah.
on her mom. So I mean, it's possible that there's like a few things, like either like she said that her mom could be possibly be a demigod, either
Or God.
Kelmvor has kept. Yeah, I was like, yeah, I was gonna say either Kelmvor has kept her alive all this time, or she is also a god, and so because Emilia is just a god, that is why she. It's not because of her father; it's because she is also just a
A
god.
god. Yeah.
Hmm.
It's also possible that, I mean, okay, I mean, I don't know if we know enough about the celestial cosmology of this world for me to say this. I guess I'll defer to the DM for a second. In some specifically, I would say D&D cosmologies, like there are tiers of gods. So there's like greater gods.
Yes, there's a major and a minor pantheon for
Sure.
Solaire.
So it's possible that, like, do we know, is Kelemvor a major or a minor god?
I'm going to the list right now.
Is there a list that we have?
Major.
Yeah, it's shared somewhere.
I was gonna say, so it's possible that, like, even if she is a god, if both, like, maybe both of her parents are major gods, or even if just Kelemvor is a major god and she's a minor god, like, I wouldn't rule out the possibility that whether or not it's something that he does constantly, or if it's something that he did to her, or if it's something that she just naturally has, that he could still take away her immortality if he wanted to.
Yep.
Right.
You know, whatever the reason behind her immortality, I would not be surprised if the god of death could take it away, even from a minor god.
Yeah.
Especially one that is his daughter.
Now, I just still can't get over the fact that a god apologized. What heinous thing would prompt a god to apologize?
I mean, it could be that, again, there's something up with her mom, and that he has been, obviously, Emilia never knew her mom, so it could be that he was trying to
Protect her from him.
keep her mom away from her.
Yeah.
And the fact that she was coming, that it could have just been that he apologized for the fact that he could no longer do so.
Alternatively, Kelemvor might have set up something and used Emilia.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, there's tons of different
It could be
things
kind of
could be.
anything.
Yeah. The only thing that we know is that he apologized after saying that her mom was coming to visit, so we can assume that it has something to do with their mom.
Mm-hmm. DM, what do I know about Kelemvor in terms of, like, theological history? Whether it's his personality or just things that he has been rumored to have done or role in deific events, kind of.
Make a religion check for me.
Okay.
I'm opening up so many like Solaire note stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be hard, actually, without being... I don't know what my religion is.
Oh. Well, we can switch over to Solaire if we need to, and Foundry.
Yeah, I'm done editing things. I added all the backgrounds in, so.
Cool. Can you switch to that then?
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. I rolled a natural 1.
Dang.
Kelemvor is a god. Probably.
Yeah.
You think?
Yeah.
You're not 100% sure.
God damn. I guess... Yeah, next step would be Jeremy, but... If we don't get any info from him, what then?
I don't know what the fuck. I mean, to be fair, we didn't know what the fuck we were doing until we got here, so.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to try something. I'm going to go over to the book with the bird. And I'm literally just going to write Emilia Sargrim's mom.
I love that. That's a great idea.
Yep.
It blinks a couple times, and then looks back towards the book that you just read.
Damn.
God damn it.
Fair enough.
Fuck.
I had a feeling, but I was like with the shot.
Yeah. Fuck.
You notice that with these and with the initial thing that led you to discover these books, the bird doesn't seem to fly towards the other side, to the side of the room that you're on, just down into the library.
Mm-hmm.
It'll stare, though.
I mean, did we learn anything that is contrary to our existing knowledge or the existing written history? I don't think so.
I don't think there's much knowledge
Or
from
history from that period.
yeah.
We know this castle was inhabited
Yeah.
before the war, right? Like, because what was the Guards Journal, Summoner?
It was
1 year before
Yeah.
the Sargrim War.
6520.
And the names in there, you also notice, match the ones of the group that joined in the end.
Oh.
Okay. So, yeah.
Ah, that makes
So
sense.
immediately,
So, yeah.
immediately
After she met her mom, the War of Sargrim
Yeah.
Conquest started.
Uh,
That doesn't sound good, I'm not gonna lie.
So obviously before we go back to Jeremy, there's still like the upper floor of this place to
Oh yeah, if Ethan
explore.
made it. Hold on, I need
Correct.
to pee.
We're not going to do that today, but
Okay.
there.
But just in
You still-
general.
I'm still gonna go pee.
No,
no.
you still have
So-
the upper east wing and the upper west wing.
Yeah. God damn it.
So yeah,
So-
the 5 people that were members of former Last Resort that she started to work with, those are the 5 names that are all in those shift logs. And you guys also remember that there are 5 people besides Emilia and Jeremy in the picture that was in the spider's nest.
Yeah.
Okay.
Damn, I thought like where this was going was that like over time Emilia Sargrim became like more and more just distant from rule, and then just like ended up having people run it for her, and then she would just be like a face in a tool pointed. But this is very much different than that.
Yeah, I was wondering like, oh, I don't know, maybe she goes long, like gets older and older and she sees like more and more of the world, and I guess frankly, my generous interpretation of why she would have started the war was like, I don't know, some leader or some country did something, like got jealous of Sargrim or something and attacked her. That would have been like the most like reasonable, right? Like if she didn't start the war,
Yeah.
then obviously, I mean, that doesn't mean that whatever happened at the end of the war, like continuing on, or was necessarily justified, but it at least means the war itself was reasonable or justified. But I could even have seen like a somewhat reasonable, especially from an immortal's perspective, interpretation of like just seeing how the people of the world are constantly whatever oppressed by their leaders or something like that, you know, like
And wanting to
like liberate
change
them,
something on a
yeah,
global scale.
like from the frailty of mortal life, which I think would still be questionable,
Yep.
but at least understandable from an immortal's perspective. But we don't even have like that,
Right.
right? Like,
No, we don't got anything.
Yeah. Damn.
God damn it.
Fuck. I don't know. I feel like we knew so little, and this enlightens so little that like I don't even want to start like developing theories because who knows? Like we just don't know
Yeah.
anything.
I'm just gonna go up to the thing and ask for Kalimvor.
Sure.
I'm sure there's a lot that's gonna point to though.
Yeah, the bird flies down, grabs back a trail of books that fills both bookshelves with various theological books about Kalimvor.
Okay. Is there any theological like history specifically?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. I'll yoink one of those. And you don't have to conjure that up if
I
you
know I
don't
need another
have
book.
one.
Yeah, as a kind of summary, it just kind of covers various people who claim to have met Kalimvor, or have spoken to or through him, or him through others. They're always very cryptic. It doesn't seem like Kalimvor is particularly interested in things, and it seems like people like to stretch his word out a lot more than it actually makes sense.
Yeah.
Based on the actual context. Seems generally uninterested in human life. Kalimvor is lawful neutral. And it seems like it's just straightforward about the concept of death. Seems like people have begged Kalimvor a number of times to spare them, or to spare others, or to take others. But everything with Kalimvor happens in its own time.
Right. How do worshippers of Kalimvor like worship or show devotion?
I will do a quick note that Lenati is a worshipper of Kalimvor. Kind
Right,
of.
yeah.
It's funny because I was gonna go up to the book and write Lenati's name in there if there was any books on Lenati.
Nothing
Because
comes up.
Yeah.
Ah,
I didn't think
okay.
so, but you know.
Worth a
That's
try.
a good thought, though. That's a good thought. In our ritual of bringing up Lenati, what was it that happened?
They
Like,
were
with
copies
Kalimvor?
of like duplicates of Lenati appeared, right? And we had to get what we had to do to get rid of them. But like when we attacked them, didn't it like also hurt Lenati or something?
Yep. Yeah, you had to restrain and kind of beat the crap out of Lenati as he attacked you.
Right.
Mm,
And beat him up a couple times to whack the Kalimvor out of him.
right. And did we hear Kalimvor speak at all during that?
Yeah, he spoke after getting kicked out, and it was like, "You jerk, death comes for you anyways. You'll never be free." Blah blah. Not very cryptic though.
Yeah, that's true. Very direct.
And in fact, all of the experiences that Anati has told you about don't really seem like they match the stuff in this historical book.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
What if it's not Kalimvor, that Lenati?
Maybe it's not Kalimvor that Emilia Sargrim.
Well, I would be more inclined to believe that it's not
More
Kalimvor that
inclined.
Lenati has interacted
Yeah.
with. I feel
True.
like Emilia. Why would
What if it's
a being that made someone immortal lie? I guess it's possible, but like
It
I
just
don't
seems
know.
less
It just
likely.
it just seems less likely that a
Mm.
being is impersonating Kalimvor to some random guy. Sorry, Lenati,
Yeah.
but like, or I don't know if you were about to say this, Solminar, but like, what if whatever happened to Emilia that caused her to change because of her mom also changed Kalimvor?
Yeah. Mhm.
So, if we don't find anything here, or Jeremy doesn't know anything, I have an idea.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit of a long shot,
Mm-hmm.
but the Alvin in the notes in her books seems to be my ancestor.
Hmm.
Mm.
So what's your thought?
So we could go visit my family
Okay.
and see if there has been anything passed down
Okay.
from him.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. I will say, I have nothing better to do than this. Um,
I mean,
I mean, kind of same.
and
I suppose so.
like,
Yes,
I will live a
same.
long time unless somebody kills me. So like,
Unless you find a way to kill yourself.
or I kill myself, which is probably more likely. But all I'm saying, I suppose, Emil, whether you want the company or not, is I have no. Sorry, DM. I know this isn't actually going to happen in World probably, but Killer would say it anyways. I have no opposition to spending years or decades here trying to figure this out. Time is no constraint to me. So, well, yes, it would be great to figure something out now. Um, this seems like something that is very important to our world, and at the very least, the people who live here. So, it seems of uh, such a magnitude of importance that I have no opposition to dedicating a significant amount of time and effort towards it.
I'll say I appreciate that, and I would very much be willing to take you up on that.
Yeah.
And also, I was going to say another potential lead is where the other half of the sword is.
Right.
Certainly, yes.
We could get someone to cast legend lore on the sword.
Because I know general
Direction.
direction.
Yeah.
Because
Which is where right now?
I believe,
Meridia, yeah.
yeah, by, I think it's like this lake.
Hmm.
So potentially the lake she was in.
Yeah, that's kind of creepy, but yeah. That will require us to go through the Reaper's Forest again.
I mean, yeah, no matter what, we were going to have
But
to.
yeah,
Let's just make sure that our business in Sargrim is
that's
finished before we
yeah.
do that.
That's
At
kind of what
least
I'm thinking, because
as
I
much
don't want to have to
as
go
it can
back and
be.
forth and back and forth if we can avoid it.
Yeah, so we should do as much as we can at the moment. Who knows, we might end up having to come back here again.
Yeah.
But at least at the moment, we should make sure that we've done everything we can.
I wonder if dragons still reside in the Umbral Peaks.
Yeah, she never really said if that war got resolved.
Another thing that I've found interesting was that when she was like talking about cities and towns and all that, when she mentions Rustakar, because I'm from there, all the mines there are closed, abandoned, wildly dangerous. So I I don't know what like, like what happened, what there was to use there.
Could always check it out.
Yeah,
I mean, I feel like if this is anything to go by, I gesture at the building, the castle. I feel like there's probably not going to be a whole lot of people that stop us from going places.
yeah. I mean, well, even if we were gonna talk to my family, we would be going to Rustakar anyway, so that kills two birds with one stone.
Well, and I just mean like if we want to explore the other like whatever, if there are like government houses or castles or anything like that in the other cities, or like important locations that are quote unquote closed off, like it doesn't sound like there's any enforcement or government to like stop us from going wherever we want. It doesn't mean
True
we should
enough.
like murder somebody if they do try and get in our way. I just don't think anybody will.
No, that's fair.
Which is good, I think. I mean, I still think it sucks for the people here. I suppose, I don't know. I look around, I kind of think for a second. I don't know if it is better than having a bad leader. I don't know. What do you guys think? A show of hands. Would you rather live in Sargrim or Virity? I feel like Sargrim.
Having visited Verity, Sargrim.
Sargrim, yeah, okay.
Mallory turns away and pretends like he's not invested in that question.
Yeah.
Can't really answer that. Also, as a quick note for everybody, there are no last names in the journals of the 5 party members.
Hmm.
But there are the last names in the shift
On the
logs.
ship, yeah,
Got it.
because
We should
that's how I
write those
knew.
down.
I do have them if you are interested.
Yes.
Mhm.
Somebody have the notes.
I'll put them in the notes.
Cool.
I need to pull
Thank
them up still. I'll do
Yeah,
it
I
myself.
don't know where they are. Oh wait, no, that's not.
With Solar Notes parentheses Sargrim.
Oh, that? Wait, what? Is it pinned?
It's just shared with you manually.
I don't know why I don't have a shortcut. There. Got it. Jeremy is the mustachioed man, yeah.
Yep,
Mhm.
the bartender.
There wasn't any note of the dragon friends dying in her journal, right? Like, aside from Victoria, of course. Like Gramalia and Volandix, I think.
Oh no, they died right before
Oh, they
Victoria.
did? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Shit.
Yeah, basically, Victoria grabbed Emilia, brought him to where Gamaliel and Vidlandix were just splayed out in the middle of a canyon, and then they were ambushed.
Okay.
Do any of these last names sound familiar at all?
Mm. No.
No.
Maybe make a history check.
I'll assist.
23.
How much have you traveled around Sargrim before the campaign?
A good bit.
Okay.
Because I think that's what I was doing during my during and before my session 0.
Right. You've heard the last name Blackwell.
Okay.
Sounds like they own a restaurant in Zalfiel. Unfortunately, the restaurant did not have solitary eggs, so you didn't stay there very long. You do remember it because you were pretty mad about that fact.
Fair enough. So that's another here. Well, thanks, right?
Alright, well, I don't know that I have much else to add at this point.
I'm gonna try one more thing with the book,
Sure.
and I'm gonna write Mora Caldoris.
Give me just a second.
Or obviously not Ethan. She's the one who wrote the thing about Sargrim's army of Kelimvor, who is part of the Sarkane's Compass, who was from Sargrim.
The bird retrieves one book. This book seems to be a ecological journal by Mora Caldoris. This book details the effect of different magics upon livestock. including ways to help get them more resistant to the elements and protect them from different afflictions, diseases, and dictate some of the research on that. It seems like this was done as part of a research institute in Drieghan that she was enrolled in. You've never heard of such the institute?
That's about it.
Yep.
All right.
It is dated 6519. So
Old.
right before the war.
Yeah. By the way, did everybody do all the experience things?
Yeah, I was gonna wait until we get into that. I meant to do it at the beginning. Yeah. Good job filling out everything.
Nice.
Got just about everything. The one thing is I didn't see surges for a meal.
Oh no!
No, I did my surges when we first did them.
Yeah.
Oh.
Where did you put them?
Let me check
I
because
don't see them in your character sheet.
they're under the
I remember you
features,
all
down
did them
down
right
at the
away.
very down at the very bottom. They're in their own tab.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you can put them in the surges feature.
Oh, okay.
Replacing the things in there. I just missed that.
Okay, so you did do it.
Yep. So everybody did everything. Congratulations.
I was like, I know I did those right away.
Yeah, I remember that as well. I just don't see them. Didn't see them. So I wanted to ask about
Okay.
that.
He's just blind.
Well, they weren't in the right spot.
Okay, side
So everybody gets 13 total experience.
A.
So we should have. I have 15. Is that the only experience we've ever gotten?
No,
you
we
got
got-
some in the
Okay.
sewers.
We got like
Yeah.
2.
I was gonna say.
Oh, wait. Yeah.
We should all have the same amount, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody's won March Madness yet. Also, it doesn't look like anybody from the other party did them, so nothing bonus there.
Yeah, I didn't even bother to try. I barely remember to do it myself, so.
A. Would have been nice if any of the dragons that knew Emilia were still alive.
Yeah.
Having a long-lived creature to kind of help with events would be nice. Not that too many dragons would have personally witnessed those wars.
Yeah.
But, I guess, next thing on the list is to clear out this place, make sure that leave no stone unturned.
I would say there's nobody here, so I'm definitely taking that pen.
And the wine. And maybe another wine. I mean, if you guys want to do more in the castle right now, you can. That's fine.
Eh,
I just haven't uploaded the second floor stuff yet.
that's fine.
I
I
think
think
pretty much.
just wait.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the big
I'm
thing.
pretty much sure that's the main thing that
Mhm.
we're doing.
Well, do we level up?
Is there anything else you guys want to talk about? Or are we good to actually end it here then?
I think that covers all the bases for me.
Oh, also, I'm just gonna gather up all the journals and put them in my bag.
Fair.
Right.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
if
that's it
there's
for me.
nothing else, you can go ahead and end for today then. Congratulations, you've finished The Life and Times of Emilia Sargrim, and you'll get another experience point.
Yay!